the views coming from here or coming down there? In the past, we've gone down there. We could get it. Yeah, mate. that was 20 minutes ago.
All right.
So we're live. So I guess you can just go.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to an idyllic Valley Road for this round 3 clash in the Women's Super League between the Devonport Strikers and the Glenorchy Knights. I'm Camille Douglas and I'll be taking you through all the action in this one today. Let's run you through the starting lineups.
Number 8, it is Gadon. Number 9, Ebony Pint.
For the Devonport Strikers, the home team, Michaela Mitchell in goals, Tully Park, Georgia King, Annalie Bidwell, Lucy Foote, Annabelle Wiley, Abby White, Sue Godoy, Whitney Knight, Grace Sims and Holly Emmett in the 11. And on the bench, Madeline Payne, Emily Voucher, Mia Smith, Isabella Taylor and Gemma Matthews. For the Glenorchy Knights, in goals, Madison Lennox, and then Bronte Gayden, Sarah Bologna, Summer Neal, Ella McConnon, Jemima Brown, Inez Gayden, Ebony Pitt, Ava Wiley, Sophie Munnings, Jessica Shreve in the 11. And on the bench, Monique Pinkovich, Charlotte Butler, Emma Christie, Zara McLeod, and Eliana Difakaris. Big clash, this one, for both sides. Last week, both these teams eviscerated championship-level opponents, the Devonport Strikers, travelling to Hobart and defeating the Southern Championship Women's Olympia Warriors 17-0. And the Glenorchy Knights doing similar, coming up to the Northwest Coast to face Burnie United, beat their Northern Championship opponents 13-0. So a combined 30 goals produced between these two sides last week. I don't think we'll see that replicated today, but we are in for what is a fascinating fixture. The Devonport Strikers defeated all who came before them last season. Statewide Cup winners, Women's Super League champions, are looking to repeat that this season. In the Super League last year, they won 17 games and drew 1, undefeated. But Glenorchy Knights will come into this one knowing that they were the only side to take points off the Devonport Strikers last year. That one draw the Devonport Strikers took was a 2-2 draw in round 7 of last season, with Gayden scoring 2 for the Glenorchy Knights and Foote, and the no longer present in the Devonport lineup, Danielle Capel, the goal scorer for them. In the other two clashes last season, it wasn't such a great result for the Glenorchy Knights. Devonport Strikers victorious 6-0 in round 13 last season and 3-0 victors in round 21 last season. But the Glenorchy Knights will come into this one full of confidence after their win last week. Their only other game in the Women's Super League thus far this season was a 4-1 defeat to South Hobart, with Shreve on target from the penalty spot in that particular fixture. The Devonport Strikers have been in the goals very much thus far this season. A 5-2 victory over Kingborough Lions and a 12-0 victory over Riverside Olympic. Their two results in the Women's Super League, which sees them sit atop the table. The Glenorchy Knights currently sitting in 4th. Moments away from kick-off in this one. And we are underway at Valley Road. Shreve on the ball early, looking into the feet of the youngster Mungings. White winning, then Knight. A little nutmeg there from Knight, perhaps. Then Bologna driving through the midfield, pushing it out wide to McConnell. The Glenorchy Knights fielding an unchanged 11 from the side that was victorious in the Statewide Cup last week in that 13-0 victory over Burnie United. There are a few changes for the Devonport strikers. Bidwell and Knight coming in. Put out of play by Pitt there. Coming out for the Devonport strikers, Madeline Payne going to the bench, and Elizabeth Sutherland not in the lineup today for the Devonport strikers, nor on the bench. Dory. Emmett comes inside to the new addition, the Devonport strikers this year, Park. King turning away from Brown, getting it through the lines to Doy, who plays it in behind, a little heavy on the pass in the attempt to find Knight. Knight, who didn't feature last week for the strikers. And as is the style of contemporary football, playing short from the goal kick. Wiley reads this one best. Driving in through the midfield. Gaden does well. Losing out there. The ball bobbles around. It's going to come to the opposite to Wiley. Emmett reads this one best. She'll look to recycle. Comes back to Bidwell, back into 11 today after coming off the bench last week. Nice touch from foot to Wiley, who's well tackled by Wiley. Both number 11s, the Wileys, for their respective sides. Filling in for Sullivan at right back today, Annabelle Wiley, but doing the same kind of play here, pushing well up the wing as Elizabeth Sutherland usually likes to do. Bidwell to foot. Last year's best and fairest for the women's. Bidwell, the centre-back, pushing well forward there and being caught offside. So last season, the Glenorchy Knights finished in 5th. The Devonport strikers finishing obviously atop the table. Be a good test for the Knights today to see how far they've come from last season. Gaden to Gaden, back to Bologna, gets it into midfield towards Munnings. Ricochets out to Bidwell, it comes all the way back to Mitchell. Looks for a long switch over the head of McConnon. To the feet of Sims, who looked to lay it back for Emmett, who was overlapping. Misunderstanding between the two left-sided players there for the Devonport strikers, but Sims tracks back and wins it back. Now to Munnings. Playing it out towards nobody in particular. Foot retrieving. King recycling out through Mitchell. The feet of Bidwell. Bidwell again. Looking to get it up the wing towards Wiley. Ill-directed pass. A chance for Neal to get at the Devonport strikers' defence. Trying to play it in behind to Brown. Too much weight on that pass. Mitchell collects comfortably. Long from Mitchell. No one home for the strikers over the head of Bologna. Shreve playing it out first time, trying to find Wiley, but Devonport's Wiley getting there first. Will be a throw in to the Knights. The line over the head of Wiley. Bidwell into White. Well tackled by the Knights there. Overrunning it was Gaden, and now it's with Devonport with White, who looked to get it to foot, who could have been through on goal. And a nice look to spring. Wiley doing well against Neil, but it will be a nice throw-in. On the side, quite getting it right in the first 5 minutes here. Few well-directed passes early on, both teams still settling into play. Just a Godoy, new to the strikers this year. You're looking for the feet of Knight and just not on the same wavelength, the two players. McConnon. Forced wide by Emmett. Too wide, in fact, the ball out of play. King. Foot to Knight. A little dink inside, might fall for foot, it doesn't. Bologna there first, and Doy, half strike really. Or just maybe a heavy touch collected by Lennox. Long. Well trapped by Brown down to Gayden. Gayden turning away from a couple of strikers. Players, nice bit of football. Pass not quite right. Bologna in. Gayden. The credit of both sides trying to play through the thirds. Knight, so dangerous in these positions. What can she produce? A little flick to wide, a ball through to Sims, and touched in on goal with the linesman's flag has risen. And certainly from my vantage point, looked to be offside. An intricate bit of play there from the Devonport strikers. Expect to see a bit more of that. Lennox fires it out to McConnon. On the score sheet last week, McConnon, but so many players on the pitch were on the score sheet last week, given their two handsome results in the statewide cup. Knight with another chance then. A good run from Doy, ignored by Knight. Knight carries the ball, gets into a bit of trouble, can't wriggle out of it. And now Munnings gets it towards Gayden, a difficult one to trap there to thigh. And Bologna deflected by foot. Now Wiley. Bologna comes out. Wiley can't get around Bologna. On the score sheet twice last week after moving into the midfield. Now White. And then thumped away. Out of play by Ava Wiley. Annabelle Wiley coming to take the throw in. And for shielding the ball well there, enables herself the chance to get down the wing and deliver a ball into the box. She does go towards the near post. Doy, a lovely touch to Knight, who hits it straight at Lennox when she had the whole goal at her beckoning. The expectation of the crowd and the players, and certainly this commentator, that was going to nestle into the back of the net. But Knight didn't finish. Knight with another chance now though. Can she make up for the miss? Knight, no option wide left, so she's going to have to come back. Emmett makes an overlapping run. Finally an option. Emmett streaming forward. Tries to get around Pitt, but Pitt does well. A toe out, and it's going to be a corner for the Devonport strikers. So the best opportunities of note so far with the Devonport strikers. Knight from 6 yards, putting it directly at Lennox, and then the offside goal from Sims. The two pieces of goalmouth action we've enjoyed within these first 10 minutes. King stands over this one. The captain. Delivered to the near post. Flicked back out. Right, recycles to King. A better looking ball in the box. This one to Doy, who tries a flick. But again, Lennox. Chance for Knight to get out. They've been stuck in their half of the pitch this last 5 minutes. Mitchell. Wiley. Ball out to foot. Real weird by Wiley. Neal. Dumps it forwards, only as far as King. King slides in. Deflects to Brown, a chance for the Knights. McConnon. Dinks it towards the top of the 18, Wiley. Plays it out towards Foot and Wiley. Wiley steps inside. Well tackled by Park though. Haven't seen much of Park, but here she is. Rolls it out towards Foot. Gayden reads it well. Foot disappointed with the pass. Neal inside to Wiley. White very physical, that's part of her game. Gayden. Bologna fires the part out to the opposite wing to McConnon to Pitt. Sims fires into a tackle. Pitt stood strong. Emmett will get to this one first. Turns away from Pitt. Nicely done by Emmett, driving forward towards Doy, but not going to stay in play. Pitt steps in, firing forward, only finds Wiley though. Foot. Square to White. And a miscommunication between Knight, who was pointing towards the Doy, wasn't expecting the pass. And now a great ball from Shreve, nearly found Neal, who was in on goal. Beautifully read by Bidwell, cutting out that action. And now it's Park. Oh. Couldn't find Knight. Game of almost so far for both sides. Evan and McConnell clash. Throw into the Knights. Connor hits it higher than it was long. Sims.
Can you hear me or not? Yeah, no, all good.
Emmett. Knight traps with the thighs. Turns away from Bologna. Gets it into the feet of Foot, whose touch towards Doy was under hit. Gayden to McConnon. Gayden plays it off Doy. Glenorchy Knights throw. Still within the first 15 minutes of this one. Score remains 0-0. Devonport Strikers with the best of the chances. Knights have looked dangerous on the counter at times. Either side quite getting their passes right thus far. Into Gayden, that's a lovely touch. Gayden spreads it wide, good from the Knights. Wiley now has Neal on early. Touch was heavy, but now comes back to her, to Gayden. Nice 1-2 to Wiley, who attempts to shoot from range, and it falls to Wiley, who thumps it high. Gayden underneath this one. The effort of Foot forcing her to put it out of play. To mention both teams trying to play the right way, playing through the thirds, progressing the ball, trying to find the midfielders in the half space. In those pockets of space to create danger. Knight certainly on occasion for the Strikers dropping into those spaces to pick up the ball. Bologna. Thumped away by Wiley to be a goal kick for the Glenorchy Knights. Innings to take. Devonport Strikers will have Taruna next week, while the Glenorchy Knights will play the Kingborough Lions. The Devonport fixture, perhaps many would consider a touch easier than the Knights' fixture against the Lions. But Gayden does well. Fires forward. King, who gets it out towards Sims. King, none too pleased with being whistled for the infringement. Won the ball. The high studs, the official seems to be indicating, was the cause for the whistle. It's a long, long way out to have a wall. Some 35 yards the wall is. The ball even further. The ball is fired and it does hit the wall. I take that back. Gayden. To Pitt. To Wiley. Fires it out. This is good. McConnon, who attempts to shoot from long range. Didn't get enough on that one. Comes down to Foot, who heads forward. Only Wiley home for the Knights. She tries to drag it back, but is beaten by Park, who finds Doy. Sims in behind. Can she find the pass? Hits the back of Pitt, but it does come down to Sims. Sims getting it out to Knight. Bologna with her. Been in each other's pockets so far. Bologna and Knight. I imagine will remain so. Emmett. Shreve. Emmett miscued her kick. And Knight loses out. To Shreve. Ignores Wiley. Has to turn back and goes longer forward. Nearly gets to Gayden. Bidwell tidies up. Her pass errant. Bidwell gets it back and has her pocket pinched and then grabs Gayden. That should, I imagine, be a yellow card. A belated grab from Bidwell there on Gayden when she saw her going through. Official blowing for the free kick. No card produced. Bidwell on the deck. Looking in some pain. There was a wave to the bench. Perhaps in the incident, Bidwell has done herself some harm. It looked a little innocuous, the incident itself, Bidwell grabbing Gayden. But Bidwell in some pain. Hasn't moved over on the ground. We do hope she's okay. Bidwell, an outstanding talent. Sister to Charles Bidwell in the Devonport Strikers men's NPL team, or should I say he's her brother. Bidwell sitting up is a good sign. The team's taking a break to grab a drink. Get some word from their coaches. And a positive start for the Glenorchy Knights, who've held the Devonport Strikers here for 20 minutes. As I mentioned at the top of the coverage today, the Knights, the only team last season to take points off the Devonport Strikers in what other was a perfect season for the Strikers. 17 wins in the league, that one draw, and an unbeaten run to be statewide cup champions. Tom Ballantyne certainly have his eyes on that being reproduced. Some say to back half to go back-to-back in such a fashion. It's difficult to restore your appetite, but the Devonport Strikers, with the goals they've been putting in thus far this season, seem to have no shortage of appetite. The Knights have certainly been in this one, and arguably over the last 5 to 10 minutes have been the better side. Game's been played in their half, attacking half. Bidwell stands the halfway line opposite us, waiting to be waved to re-enter play by the official. Again, it looks like we are going to have a wall. Whistle blows. Devonport with 10 players on the pitch for the moment. Pitt fires, it hits the wall once more. Down to Gaydon. Turns away from the attention, only as far as Sims though. And the Knights hustling and bustling in midfield and winning that contest at present. The pass though from Pitt doesn't find Neil. Emmett will have that one. Throw forward from Emmett to White. Not sure she meant the flick over her head, but it's worked out well. Doy with space in front of her chooses to pass instead of carrying it. It works out well though to Sims, who gets it in towards the feet of Knight, runs past her. Wiley thumps it clear. Off Doy, out of play. Wiley to Neil, they've switched wings, Neil and McConnell. Neil forced backwards. And it's a Devonport throw. The Knights players in disbelief. White. Through to Doy. Back heel to Sims. Cleared by Munnings. Headed out of play by White. A bit of a scrap here at Valley Road in this round 3 Women's Super League fixture. Devonport Strikers 2 wins from 2 thus far this season. The Knights have only had the 1 Women's Super League game before this. A loss to who many consider the other main championship contender, South Hobart. Foot toes it forward, only as far as Shreve. Her pass finds Bidwell. Bidwell, no stranger to stepping into midfield, finds Foot. Foot inboard to Knight. A lovely ball from Knight through to Doy. Couldn't quite find it. And Bologna stepping out. Knight, chance to run at the defence. Plays the ball off her defender and out for another corner for the Devonport Strikers. Just past the halfway mark of this first 45. Certainly Devonport have created the best of the chances, but by no means a goal mouth full of action so far. Have the official going over to the linesman. There seems to be an issue with the flag in the corner. Corner in, driven low, comes down, ricochets around the box to Foot, to the top of the box. Knight can hit them from here, and does, and well blocked by McConnell. Comes to Wiley, who toes forward, nearly in the direction of Doy. Thankfully for the Knights, it comes to Neil, who happily just clears the area. Throw a blanket over the 20 players on the field there. Switch from King, does get to Doy. Comes to McConnell, who wins out. Doy, though, dispossesses her. Gets it to Knight. Takes on 1, takes on 2. Into the box, a chance for the Devonport Strikers. Knight squares, but Maddie Lennox holds well in goals for the Knights. Dangerous Knight run So often they can end in goals for the Devonport Strikers. Lennox slicing her kick slightly so that it favours Wiley. Wiley miskicks it though. McConnon nearly through on goal there to Brown. Ricochets back towards McConnon, but Wiley puts it out of play off McConnon. The Devonport Strikers throw. Strikers throw again. Wiley to the feet of Foot. Gayden all the way back to Bologna. Back to Shreve. To Wiley. Wiley into the feet of Brown. Good from Knights. Better from Bidwell. He toes it away. Munnings. Back to Wiley. And miscues her kick out of play. So an irony in these two teams scoring a combined 30 goals last week, and thus far in this one, real lack of goalmouth action. Wiley driving forward, well tackled. White turns away from Gayden. Knight down to Park, who has King on. Drives it forward tonight. Lovely touch to Doy. Good football from the Devonport Strikers. Rolls it to Sims. Sims cuts inside, fires a shot at goal. Lennox gets a hold of that one. Well, the Devonport Strikers have registered a handful of shots on target. Nothing that has terribly troubled Lennox in goals for the Knights so far. Turnover. Knight. Lovely to Foot. Lovely weighted ball. Knight through on goals. Can she find the finish? Knight dispatches the Knights. 1-0 to the Devonport Strikers. Whitney Knight back in the side. Back in the goals. And puts the Devonport Strikers ahead here at Valley Road. This round 3 fixture. A dearth of goalmouth action so far. Put to an end with Knight's comprehensive finish there.
Goal in the 28th minute for the Devonport City Strikers through number 17, Whitney Knights.
A great interchange there between Knight and Foot. Some crisp passing, good movement, one-touch football, and the end result, a goal for the Devonport Strikers. Can they add to that? Doy finding Foot. Back to Park. No one here. Foot has moved well to find space here. Nice looking ball into the box to Doy. You couldn't take it in a stride. What a lovely weighted pass from Foot. Little dink to the box, which landed right at Doy's feet, but she couldn't bring it under her control. If she had, the goal was on. And the Strikers have produced the best goalmouth action of the two sides so far and deserve the 1-0 lead. So McConnon back down to Bologna, whose heavy touch saw the ball go out of play. Intercepted by McConnon, out of play once more. So move towards the half-hour mark here at Valley Road. Wiley back to Bidwell. Wiley. Foot. Movement creating constant trouble for the Knights here to Wiley, who fires it across the box, palmed away by Lennox. Does enough to snuff out the danger. Up the line from Pitt. Ball will stay in play. Emmett has to track back and retrieve to King. Chooses not to switch the ball through Bidwell, instead moving more direct, more verticality. Mark couldn't bring it under her spell. And very direct then from Shreve. Bidwell has to chase this one. And Bidwell pulls it out of play. and then pulled down by McConnon. The official unsighted, but does call McConnon over. McConnon could easily have gone into the book there, as could have Bidwell earlier. For her tug on Gaydon, McConnon could easily have picked up a slice of cheese there for her tug on Bidwell after the ball was put out of play. That one would certainly have been softer. White steps in, tries to play through the legs of Bologna. White, then to foot. Cuts inside, waiting for an option, finds Park, fires it out towards Wiley. Good bit of play there, good movement from Wiley. Wiley fires it across the box. A great ball. It's 2-on-1, but the one wins out. Munnings then. And Emmett. Driving through the heart of the Knights. Gets it to Knight. Cleared away. King. King, such a dominant presence at the back for the Devonport Strikers. Park has Wiley in a lot of space. Foot's movement. In a pocket of space there, she gets it. Turns away. Knight on. Touch away from goals. As Wiley for company. Foot makes the run. Down to the wing. Fired it in towards Wiley, whose touch has come to foot. And the flag up for offside. On foot. Players remonstrate with the linesman. Didn't agree with that decision. Wiley's touch seemed to flummox the players initially. Foot left it. And then realising it was going to stay in play, she could potentially get there first, then chased it down, only for the linesman's flag to intercede on behalf of the Glenorchy Knights. Lennox. White. White stronger than Gaydon, pushing her off. Comes to Doy. Munning steps in. Pass out towards Neal. One-on-one with Emmett. And Emmett stands strong. Gaydon. To Shreve, lovely control, fires it out towards Wiley. Had to stretch with that one, hit slightly behind her. It has come to McConnon though. Now Wiley has to play it into Munnings, had no other option, and does well with the bigger, stronger White on her and wins a free kick. Superb play. Sophie Munnings there. Shreve, movement not on, so unless it comes short to Wiley here, it's going to be long up towards Brown. That is the direction she goes. Bidwell just bumping Brown at the critical moment, not deemed to be a foul. Foot, 1-2 with Doy, beautiful play into the feet there of then Sims. Difficult one to control, but does enough. Back to Park, who has enough presence to keep the ball for the Strikers and recycle. Wiley now out in space. Bidwell choosing to go the opposite direction. Brown's attention's on King, so the ball coming back to Bidwell. To Park. Clever football from the Strikers and a lovely pass from Bidwell. Wiley in space in the wing. Foot turns away from that. Outside of the right. Attempted pass through to Knight. Was unlikely to get there given the attentions of Bologna. Roger Gaydon wrestling with White. White bigger and stronger. Always playing on the edge, White. Bologna and Knight. Recommence their battle, White. Knight has White. Choosing to take Bologna on. Takes it into the corner. It's going to have to come all the way back out to Emmett. King has stepped into midfield. Bidwell alone in defence. The ball given away by Emmett. And now King tugging on Brown. That simply has to be a yellow card. He's allowed play to go on. Will he come back and give that? McConnon driving forward with Wiley for company, and a good toe from Wiley. A strong play from Wiley. Ball through to Emmett. And McConnell looks in a bit of trouble here on her haunches, but gets back up. Foot. Has time to turn. Knight's the option. Fires it towards her. Overhit. Now to Gaiden. Lovely first time touch to Gaiden. Looking towards the Munnings. Again overhit. Bidwell stepping in. Munnings. Be a very tricky ball to get through here to Brown, and does it nicely into the box. Brown has King there. Rounds King. No. A great tackle from King, who then clatters into Gaiden as they fight for the ball. No foul there. The referee plays wave on. The best chance the Knights have had. Brown had it in the box, just had King to round, but King, the Strikers captain, did enough. Play allowed to go on, play halted. The best chance there for the Knights. A lovely weighted ball from Munnings in behind to Brown, who'd made a great run. King made a covering run across and stuck her foot in at the critical moment. Shut down the play from the Knights. Now she plays it forward to Foot, her sister. To McConnell. Trying to switch play, doesn't quite get hold of it. Park. And Munnings does well again, nearly slipping it through to Neal. Bright spark in the midfield. Munnings. Park does well, beats her on that occasion. Foot waiting for a run. Clever attempted ball behind there to Sims, not on the same wavelength. Sims was looking for a run in behind instead of a ball into feet. Park in, pushing on Gaiden. Wiley. White. Knight. Back to Foot. Devonport Strikers in again. Well hit from Lucy Foot, and Lennox equal to the task. Slipping as she hit it there, Foot. Directed at Lennox. Lennox had no trouble keeping that one out. That one bypasses Park. King just drives it in the general direction forward. Comes to Sims, who toes it only as far as Bologna. Fires it out towards McConnell. Wiley steps in. McConnell and Wiley battling out here. Wiley, a great pass into Foot. Left foot to Doy. Doy to Knight. Knight with Bologna. Finds Doy. Tries to wait the ball back to Knight. And a critical intervention from Shreve at the right moment there. Terrific movement from Knight and Doy there, causing the Glenorchy Knights defence to be stretched. And the reward, a corner for the Devonport Strikers. 1-0 it remains as we tick towards half time. Some 7 minutes to play. King into the box, into the side netting, off the Glenorchy Knights. King will get a chance to retake. The players reset. King delivers this low to the near post again. Seems to be the tactic for the Strikers. Hasn't paid off from the numerous corners they've had so far. Emmett. As far as Neal. Gaiden makes a run forward, ignored, comes inboard to Munnings. Pitt stepping in, ignores the options to her left. Finds Brown, a nice touch, gets the return pass from Neal. Wiley alive to the danger. White, King, Park has to turn away with that one. We'll get to it first. And McConnell went in harder and stronger and won that one. Cuts back, a push from Park. Nice still with the ball. Shreve, not in the same wavelength as Munnings, turned over. Knight. Sims sticks a toe in. Knight clatters into Bologna. Knight about an eyelid. The free kick, though, for the Sims attempted tackle on the skipper, Bologna. Bologna out towards McConnon. Foot putting that one out of play. Right, Andrews retrieving the ball. Throw. Shreve has been very composed on the ball at the back. On that occasion, pushed off it by Doy, forcing an errant pass. King. Bologna finds the centre-back partner, Shreve. Fires the ball out to McConnon, who was selecting her options before trapping the football. Taking her eye off it. The ball out of play. Up the line. The Glenorchy Knights staff will consider that one. Soft one, perhaps. One where the appeals of the Devonport Strikers players manipulated the referee's decision. Wiley. Gets as far as Knight, outside of the right. Couldn't find Sims. It has been a bit quiet, Sims. Into Doy, lovely touch. And was looking for the run in behind from Foot. Foot instead was looking to get it to feet. Lennox. Neal. Tackle by Emmett. White steps in to Park. Comes back to Emmett. White. King. 1-0 it remains here at Valley Road, this round 3 Women's Super League fixture. The Devonport Strikers having created the best of the chances, deserve their 1-0 lead. The Knights have presented some danger when they've got forward. Here's Wiley. Has Wiley one-on-one. Leaves it behind though, Wiley. Ava Wiley winning out over Annabelle Wiley on that occasion. Foot trundles over to take the throw. Doy makes the move. A lovely trap again from Doy down to Wiley. Tries to fire it back to Foot. White in to the box and drove that one. First time, but Lennox saw that one happily well wide of her right upright. Final few minutes here of this first half. What has been a tight and terse affair. Pitt. To Neal, keeps it in play. Inboard to Gaydon. White winning out. Tonight he couldn't trap Shreve across out of danger. Certainly is a lot of grabbing, pushing, pulling in that midfield. Going without a whistle from the official. Sims wins out here. Dangerous for the Strikers. Knight tries to tow it forward. Can Shreve clear it? It does come down to Foot. Still danger for the Knights. Foot comes all the way back to Emmett. Now Doy in space on the left wing. Left-footed cross. Held comfortably by Lennox. Final chance for counter-attack. A launch forward. Brown losing out there to numbers though between Bidwell and Park and White. They've litigated that nicely. White with a directionless pass. Found McConnell. He turns away from Park. And pass read best by Emmett. Lovely flick from Knight, who finds Foot, who tries to wait the pass to Sims and gets there. Sims fires. Had Knight to her right and could have rolled it to her. Instead took the shot on, and the deflected strike once more collected comfortably by Lennox. Lennox picks out Foot there. touch a little under hit towards Park. We are at the 45-minute mark now of this first half, into added time. Cutting inside McConnon. Fires it towards Neal. Kingston desperate defending. Park finds Dorian plenty of space. Is there a final twist in the tail here in this first half? A terrific ball from Doy forward. Well trapped by Sims, whose pass couldn't find foot. Munnings, White, foot in space. Has a chance to turn. Has Wiley out wide. Has Knight in board. And Foot disappointed with her pass. It does come to Wiley. Danger not cleared yet for the Knights. Wiley hitting it first time into the box, forcing Shreve to clear. Foot with another chance. Knight on short. Instead comes in, board, a dangerous pass, the square pass there. And forced to scrap for it, and they win it back, the Strikers. Bidwell. All the way back to Mitchell. He hasn't looked at his watches yet. Takes a glance now. Wiley, Foot, endless movement. And a lovely shift of the hips there. Saw her move past McConnon. A chance to drive into the box. McConnon still there. A toe from Shreve. Heads to the penalty spot. Headed down from Bologna, cleared by Munnings. And the Knights get away with that one. Neal. Looking to play it into space, maybe behind King there for Brown to run onto, but Emmett alive to the danger, deflecting it out of play. Did have a little bit of a stoppage for Bidwell when she went down, so a little bit of added time here. Doy. Sims. The movement from Knight with Bologna. Knight toes it past Bologna. Into the corner once more, these two. Knight this time choosing to fire it first time. And once more, Lennox. Certainly been the busier of the two goalkeepers. Lennox over Mitchell. Play allowed to continue on here in the first half. Bidwell. Emmett. Scepter by Neal. Into the feet of Brown. Better from the Knights. Munnings without options, and so it comes back to Gayden. And now Wiley in space. Fires the ball towards McConnon, and that will do us for the first half here at Valley Road, this round 3 fixture between the Devonport Strikers and the Glenorchy Knights in the Women's Super League in Tasmania. 1-0 the scoreline at half.
The new Hot Honey range has dropped at Macca's with the Hot Honey McSpicy, the Hot Honey Dipping Sauce, and the Hot Honey McCrispy. Embrace the drip at Macca's.
Minutes for all the action here from Valley Road in the second half.
The new Hot Honey range has dropped at Macca's with the Hot Honey McSpicy, the Hot Honey Dipping Sauce, and the Hot Honey McCrispy. Embrace the drip at Macca's.
1-0 North Knights in the Women's Super League.
But yeah.
Background in the MPL under 21. It's the North Knights league. Devonport Strikers 2-0.
The new Hot Honey range has dropped at Macca's with the Hot Honey McSpicy, the Hot Honey Dipping Sauce, and the Hot Honey McCrispy. Embrace the drip at Macca's.
Devonport!
One.
Shit! We don't do that. None of those jokes here. Yeah, that's just that's it. No more. Come on, let's go. Enough.
Right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to this Women's Super League Round 3 fixture of Valley Road between the Devonport Strikers and Glenorchy Knights. The Devonport Strikers leading 1-0 through Whitney Knight. She was played in by Lucy Foote, dispatching the ball past Maddie Lennox and goals. Both teams appear to be unchanged, aside from a change for goalkeeper for the Glenorchy Knights. Lennox subbed off, Pinkovic on in goals. So an early change. Devonport Strikers forward early. Foot down to Wiley. He's come forward from right back. He attempt to cross and then gets as far as Foot, who rounds Shreve easily. Cuts it back to the penalty spot. No one home. And now the Knights spring a counter-attack. White bundles McConnon over. The referee belatedly blowing his whistle. Official ensuring ball taken from where the foul was initiated. Pedantic, some might say. That is his job, however. Foot then. Fires it in behind towards Knight. A lovely weighted pass in between two Glenorchy Knights players, and then Knight hits it first time towards the penalty spot. Very calmly done by Pinkovic, the goalkeeper. The first involvement. Doy has Pitt one-on-one. Chooses to cut inside and then fire a goal. And deflected by Bologna nearly directly into her own net. Slight scare there for the Glenorchy Knights. target for the Knights. The best chance of the first half came to Brown, who had just King to beat to fire a shot off on goal, but the pass was intercepted. So, speaking of interception, there's Emmett, who throws a foot in towards Gayden, who goes down after the pass, sends to McConnon, fires it in. Doy touches down. Bidwell, left-footed pass back to Doy. He then touches around Gayden. Doy then. Lovely weighted pass then to Sims. Sims and Pitt. Sims to Foot. Back to Sims, back to Doy. Attempts to clip it over to Knight. It does come to Knight. And she fires over the bar. A delicate ball into the box. Found Knight, who had Pinkovic rushing out at her. And then her attempted little loft into the goals couldn't quite be kept under the bar, and the Knights escaped there from a second Whitney Knight goal. An odd bounce off the turf. Some confusion there between the Knights players, allows it to come to White, to Foot, who shoots from 25 yards, but once more over the bar. Devonport strikers doing an exceptional job here, pressing high, keeping the Knights pegged back. Knight and Doy waiting to pounce should the ball be played short. So being forced to play long, no, does come short. Knight, Shreve fires it up towards McConnon, does well to trap it. Going to come into Pitt, but Sims read that. And then White, and then Doy, back to White, then into Knight. Lovely movement, great triangle. Doy to Ford, this would be a tremendous goal. But Ava Wiley was equal to the task and strips Foot just when the strikers had got themselves into a dangerous position. Doy, all the time in the world to trap that in turn. Miscommunication there from the Knights players, allowing Emmett to find Doy with plenty of time. Reverse ball was on to Doy, but tried into Foot, but it does come to Doy. Sims makes a run on the outside. The pass from Doy doesn't find a target. Knight in. Knight again. Now Sims. Into the box. Pinkovic calls Shreve out of it. Takes possession. Been a strong start here in the second half of the Devonport strikers. Pinkovic up towards the halfway line. Gayden. Back to Bologna. And Wiley. Back into Gayden. Good from the Knights. He has it under pressure from Sims. To Brown. And the pass back to Gayden, misdirected. Now Foot. The Devonport strikers have Sims out on the left wing. Pitt has to come across. Sims to Foot. Cuts inside. Will fire the shot. Good shape on the shot. Going towards that far post. Perhaps not the power needed to beat Pinkovic in goals. So the goalkeeper change was made last week for Bernie as well. They started against Bernie. The Knights started with Lennox in goals and then Pinkovic in the second half. Thunderous tackle in there between White and Wiley. Knight. Sims makes an inside run, leaving Knight with no option. Knight and Shreve. Knight goes past Shreve. She has a chance to deliver into the box. Doy, the near post, the flick in, and it's a lovely finish, a delicate touch from Doy. Puts the Devonport strikers 2-0 ahead. The run from Knight, the finish from Doy. You saw it coming, but that finish at the near post requires a touch, a delicate touch, and the goalkeeper beaten at the near post. And at this stage, inside the first 10 minutes here
15.
Devonport strikers may have put themselves in an unassailable position. A 2-0 lead. So critical moments here for the Knights then. They must respond next, must score next. Munnings and Park battle for it. Sims. Critical 10 minutes here for the Knights. Another Devonport strikers goal would end the contest. Sims looking to do just that. Inside to Foot. The Devonport strikers looking dangerous. A flying tackle there attempted by Wiley. Foot doesn't go down under the challenge, to her credit. Emmett. Handled there by Sims. Looked to deflect onto her arm. No whistle. Emmett. White and McConnor both kick each other instead of the ball. Here come the Knights. They have to make this count. These opportunities. Neal. Park tracks back. Comes out wide to Gaydon. Can she find a delivery that will trouble the Devonport strikers into the near post? King best placed. Wiley. Good little shift at the hips there, allows her to go past Park. Tackled by Devonport's Wiley. Now to Foot. Knight making the run in behind. Bologna reading that well though on that occasion. She'll retrieve it first. Comes all the way back to Pinkovic. To Munnings, who loses out to White, the stronger there. White with no options now has Knight. Knight can choose Park or Foot. Goes Park. Park needing an option now to the feet of Doy, the goal scorer. Tried to flick it around Bologna, but Bologna was wise to that. And a sliding tackle, terrific from Georgia King, the Devonport strikers captain. Pitt intercepted by Emmett. Shreve thumps it directionlessly, but does find Gaydon. Gets it out to Wiley. Goes past Foot. All done from Wiley. But Bidwell steps in for the strikers. Rolls it to Foot. Back to Bidwell, who flicks it out to Knight. Bologna gets a toe in. Devonport strikers throw out in front of the new grandstand. Not quite ready for supporters yet, but very close to completion. Down the line to Foot. That's Wiley for company. They battle for it. Finds some flags for a corner. King this time not going to take the corner. Wiley to take this one instead. Ball in. Comes to White. Good little pass back to King. He hits first time over the bar. The third or fourth time this half. The Devonport strikers have shot from range and put it over the bar, for which Pinkovic will be grateful. It's been a very strong second half showing from the strikers thus far. This press from the strikers is relentless, but the Knights playing through it here this time. This will allow them to get in behind. King slides in on Brown. Munnings retaining possession. Gayden has to come back. Doy presses and fires out to Neil. Has time to turn. Great run in behind by Wiley. Can she find Brown? Couldn't get the pass past Bidwell. It does deflect to Wiley, potentially offside. No flag. Ball into the box. Comes to McConnon. Just beyond her though, and Emmett gets to her first and she runs away. The Devonport Strikers on the counter-attack. Emmett, the run from Sims, continues to come away. Now there's got to be an option. The ball forward, tries to go in behind Pitt. No one home though. And now the Knights back in possession. Bit of pace into the game. Gayden, Munnings has a paddock. Makes a run. Difficult to find that pass in behind to McConnon there though. Pitt. To Munnings. White. Dory intercepts. A back heel. McConnell stepping in. Sims winning it back. Ricochets off Munnings. Dory and Pitt. Lovely touch from Dory around Pitt. Dory tries to cut inside. Does well. Gets it 2 foot with a return pass out here. No to Sims. Dory pulls wide. A great ball in behind from Sims. A lovely idea to try and find Knight there. Just slightly overhit. So as we pass the hour mark here at Valley Road, substitutions now become forefront of the mind of the coaches. As fatigue can begin to play a factor. Doy, lovely ball to Sims. Can she get past Pitt? Into the box. Off Shreve. Back to Sims. The run from foot to the back post is where the pass is directed. Instead it comes to Wiley, who thumps it first time wide of the post. Struck it well. Just not directed quite as well. Speaking of substitutions, we have our first. It looks like Butler will be coming on for the Knights for McConnon. An injection of new energy on the wing for the Knights. Butler on for McConnon. On the hour mark. Short again. Bologna immediately pressed by Dory. Up the line, Wiley intercepting. Foot trying to find the run of Wiley. And Wiley, knowing that the ball wouldn't be able to put out of play, or seen out of play, has to put it out herself. Corner, Wiley to take again. Strikers committing lots of numbers forward. Everyone bar Mitchell and Emmett in and around the 18-yard box. Wiley flicked by White to foot, deflection, and now the Knights can come away with it. Butler clears, but only as far as Emmett. King, lovely turn outside of the right to Bid. Wonderful pass out to Wiley. Delivers into the top of the 6-yard box. Foot heads down and it's into the goal. Foot celebrates. The cross from Wiley headed down at Pinkovic in goal. Pinkovic deflected it, but the backspin on the ball after it bounced saw it roll into the back of the net, and whilst it's not a classic goal, it is 3-0 to the Devonport Strikers, and the Knights all but vanquished here at Valley Road. So the scoreline here, 3-0, reminiscent of their clash around 21 at the end of last year. We saw the Devonport Strikers victorious 3-0. There is plenty of time to go in this one. Could the Devonport Strikers add more? Or can the Knights get themselves back into the contest? Roll forward to Knight. Sims running into the back post. Knight fires towards the top of the box towards Foot. Sims gets there first. White dances around her opponent. Into Knight. Cuts inside on Bologna. Little flick through. Did Bologna handle that? Not the case. Foot to Park. Park finds the feet of Knight. No. Read by Gaydon. Now Butler. Emmett steps in. Knight then has Doy. Uses Doy. Doy trying the 1-2, but the Knights players were aware of that. Knight pressed by Munnings. White gives it back to her. Then into Doy. Then back to Knight. The Devonport Strikers looking to put the Knights to the sword, and nearly do through Sims as the ball came into the box. Pass forward from Gaydon. Now Butler, it's 2-on-2. Can the Knights make this count? There's 3 if you count Brown at the back post. She's making the run. Butler fires it only as far as King, who finds White and then gets it back. Game stretched. Tired players. King rolling through the midfield. Has Sims wide. Uses her. Sims. Pitt. 1-on-1. Edge of the 18-yard box. Sims cuts inside to her favoured right foot. Knight has 3 players on her. And no options. She's going to have to come back to White. Sims once more with Pitt. And King to cross into the box. Headed away by Bologna. White again. King. Sims pulls wide. The Devonport Strikers look to switch the ball through Emmett. They get it to Bidwell. Wiley's going to have to come and get it. No. They'll have to come back to this left-hand side. Sims on the touchline. Bidwell. Back to Mitchell. Mitchell looks to get it out to Wiley. Touched on by Foot. Now Wiley with the chance. Doy making a run into the box. Wiley with Bologna. Chops back onto the left. No. Cross into the box towards Knight. Is cut out. And then Wiley and Wiley clash, and the ball picked up by Pinkovic. Rolled forward, Foot in plenty of space. Looked like she was winding up a shot momentarily, but then looked to play to Doy instead. Foot shielding the ball nicely. Knight has 3. The numbers will win out. Bologna. Some tired players here at Valley Road. Halfway through the second half, looks like we have another substitution. Looks like it will be Bidwell coming off. Matthews coming on, which might require a shift in position for a few players. So Bidwell off for a rest. Matthews on. She will slot into left back. And Emmett will move over centrally with King. White heads down. out of play. Brown's heavy touch. Sees the Devonport strikers have the opportunity. Put the ball back into play. Wiley has Emmett on. Can switch through King. Matthews pulling wide. King looks longer instead. Finds Doy. Excellent technician, Doy. Emmett's ball forward. Matthews ball forward. Only finds the keeper, Pinkovich. Under this one, that will be over the head of Neil. Looks to have come centrally with Brown on the left. King. Doy in space, chooses to go beyond Doy. Only comes to Knight as Shreve miscontrols it. Knight and Bologna. And between Bologna and Pitt, they did enough. Dory dancing and jigging, tries to get it to Knight and back. Not quite. King calls Mitchell into possession here. Mitchell to King. Doy. Lovely turn. Sims driving into the box on the left-hand side. Deflected from Shreve, and Pinkovich had to be alive to the danger there. The Sims cross was directed goalward off Shreve. Pinkovich easily could have been caught out, moving to the left in order to get into position. And White bundles Munnings over. Manning seems to be caught and slightly out of breath after the hit. Slightly winded by the challenge from White, which was heavy after the ball had been played. The Munnings will get some attention. It's under 20 minutes to play here in Valley Road, this round 3 fixture. The Devonport Strikers currently lead 3-0 through White, Knight and Doy and Foot. 1-0 was the score at half-time. 3-0 now. Devonport Strikers did enter this fixture as favourites. Undefeated last season. And once more, the players a chance to get some refreshments, to cool down a little, to get some words of wisdom from the coaches. Looks like we have had a substitutions after that challenge. Munnings has been withdrawn and Christie has come on for the Glenorchy Knights. In from King. Christie straight into the action with a header. Doy. Lovely turn away into the feet of Sims, who drives. And Shreve wins that one. It looks also like McLeod has been brought on as well by the Knights during that pause in play. Replacing Pitt. So 2 changes there from the Knights. 4 substitutions used altogether. And Port Strikers just the 1 so far. Bidwell coming off. Butler. No, it does look like Pitt still on the field of play. So Pitt instead has come into midfield. Gayden has been withdrawn. Neil. Neil from range. Mitchell has to touch over. A spectacular strike from range from Neil. Speculative from 25 yards. And Mitchell was forced to throw up a palm and deflect it over the crossbar, and the Glenorchy Knights will have a corner. With around 15 minutes left to play, a goal here will be essential for the Knights to get back into this one. Driven to the near post. Not kept in play, the corner. Disappointing for the Knights. Mitchell will be grateful the danger was passed there. Another substitution, Matty Payne coming on. And Lucy Foot, goal scorer today, coming off. Payne, the goal scorer when these two sides met in round 21 last season. She'll be hoping to get her name on the score sheet as well. Looks like she will move into the number 9 position. Knight will move into the 10. And Doy has moved out to the right wing. Mitchell swings it out to Matthews, pressed by Pitt. Pitt does well. Pitt wins out into the feet there of Neil, who has Brown. Cuts back inside, a chance for Neil, fires, and Mitchell down. Neil, the second time in 5 minutes, she's had a sider of goal there. Bologna down to Pitt. No, inside then to Christie. To Wiley. But Wiley steps in. Looks to find Payne, can't do so. Pitt then. To Gaydon. Bologna. Pressured. And White has Wiley. The run from Doy and Payne. Great ball from Payne to Doy. Was she in an offside position? The flag doesn't go up. Doy towards the penalty spot. Deflected away by Shreve. Butler into the feet of Neil. King that time getting in front of her. Neil does well. Gaydon heads forward. Matthews will mop up at the back. Will roll it back to Mitchell. King coming short. Emmett in space. Comes back to Matthews instead. Knight has to provide an option. Does so. Touch on the right foot. Pitt puts it out of play. Back to King. Switches on to Emmett. She'll now Emmett. Wiley in a bit of space. The ball's moved early. Rolled out to Wiley. Has Park inside. Emmett. Neil strong. And Emmett grabs Neil in response. The whistle had already been blown. King. See this a bit, certainly these days with the centre-backs. When they have the ball, they tend trying to draw the opposition onto them, so the space in behind. And here does come the press. No, they just sit in the kind of mid-block here, then the Knights, and that's worked out well for them as Park is dispossessed. And then Brown, and now Neil couldn't get it back to Brown. Doy clears. 2-on-1. Butler. White. Knight then. Not many options forward. Has Doy wide. Has Sims wide now too, but uses Doy. Doy to Payne. Payne with Shreve. Shreve does well. Wiley hop across to help, but now it's Doy. box, and when she looked set for a cross, instead she drove it into the top left-hand corner of the goal. It was a wonder strike, hit with incredible venom. And it is now 4-0 to the Devonport Strikers, 2 to Doy, who has been spectacular on the day. Ball long in behind towards Butler. Matthews reads it well to Mitchell, to Matthews. Has to go up the line. Tackled by Butler. Trouble here. Does well, Matthews, to try and wriggle out there, but Gaydon across to support. Now Christie. Shreve. The ball directed towards Brown. Nice weight on it. Mitchell elects to stay on the line. Now Brown, Wiley around her. Wiley blocks it. Fired into the box. Mitchell catches comfortably well above her head. Rolls it onto the deck for King. Again, King will pause on the ball. Try and draw the Glenorchy players towards her. To create space in behind. Great space in the midfield. To the feet of Doy, but Park cleans up. Doy to Wiley. Oh, Wiley can't keep it in play. Now for a throw in. So we are into the final 10 minutes of this round 3 fixture. 4-0. The Devonport Strikers lead. White. Plenty of space in the midfield ahead of her. Tries to slip it through to Payne. I don't think Payne will keep that one in play. Slightly overhit. A goal kick for the Glenorchy Knights.
Whitney! Abby!
Another substitution.
Grace!
Grace Sims will be withdrawn for the Devonport Strikers. Taylor comes on. Similarly, it looks like White and Knight will be withdrawn as well.
Big talk to help her out, yeah?
Voucher coming on. And Smith. So both coaches have emptied their benches as we come into these final few minutes. The 3 points assured for the Devonport Strikers. Chance for some players to get some good minutes. Free kick for the Knights. Ball trapped by Gaydon. Back to Pitt. Back to Wiley. Bologna. Pressure by Smith. Wiley pressured by Doy. Doy wins out. Doy has Smith in behind. Smith on the right wing. Touches around Shreve, but Shreve is strong. Wiley now has it for the Strikers. Delivery into the box directly at Pinkovic. Rolled out to McLeod. To the feet of Butler, but only as far as Matthews turns it over to Christie. Payne. Doy. Doy, a delicate touch towards Smith. Pinkovic out. Flicks it up to herself. Brown. He's passed back. He's over here to Neil directed. It'll be Devonport Strikers' throw on the right wing. Final 5 minutes of this fixture. There has been a stoppage or two, quite a few subs and a few goals, so I imagine there will be at least 3 or 4 minutes of added time. Towards the feet of Payne, intercepted by Pitt. Payne winning it back. Danger now for the Knights. Rolled out, played back by Taylor to King. King. There, but losing out. Bologna fired towards Neil. Emmett puts a toe in, deflected to King. You know rush, King. Calling voucher forward for it. King pulling out the right hand side. Matthews on in space, and that's exactly where Mitchell elects to go. We need an option up the line. Does play towards Payne. Shreve. Matthews again. Butler. Throw for the Knights. Into the feet of Gaden. Christie makes the run. Matthews intercepts. Smith then rolls. Bologna. She has a couple to beat. Gets it out towards Taylor. Puffer as the ball comes into the box. It does come to Neil though. Then Pitt. Shinned away. Referee scampering out of the way. Christie. Voucher. Doy. To Payne, who has some space. Smith, perhaps in an offside position, plays it. Pinkovic. Wiley. Dory tackles her. They grab each other. The referee allowing play to go on momentarily there. It's been quite a bit of the grabbing of the shirt and pulling in today's game. Not a single yellow card produced for that though. King. Into the box from King, too much. Goal kick. Added time, final minutes. Goal kick only as far as Payne, who has the chance to shoot from distance. Never looked on target. And that is full time at Valley Road. The Devonport Strikers 5-0 victors. They led 1-0 at half time through a goal from Whitney Knight. And in the second half, 2 to Doy, 1 to Foot, and 1 to the substitute Smith. Rounded out what was a comprehensive victory for Tom Ballantyne and the Devonport Strikers. It sees them go 3 wins from 3 in the league this season, having scored from those 3 games 22 goals and conceded only 2. An unassailable start to the season from the Devonport Strikers. The Knights will have to go back to the drawing board. They have a tough fixture next week against Kingborough. And the Devonport Strikers look to continue their winning streak against Taroona next week. We will be back shortly with coverage of the men's NPL game between the Devonport Strikers and the Glenorchy Knights soon. To that on another stream. But for this one, it was the Devonport Strikers running out victors 5-0 in this round 3 clash against the Glenorchy Knights.
Right, ladies. Well done. Second base we spoke about.
Yeah, I was
Little
really
tweaks in the middle. That was really good to watch the second half. Yeah.